from your Google or Samsung Play Store. We say good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. It's OBC Radio Second Chances for the Forgotten Voices.
You need something? Why must people tell you how things supposed to be run when there's a procedure and rules in place? And you must follow the rules, procedure, and policy. But people want to tell you still how to do things. Why is it important to follow procedure now? For example, if we get into our talks from last time with financial literacy, with the tragedy in Icon Park, procedures were all implemented. However, when procedures are not followed, tragedies happen. This topic hits a bit close home to me because I'm not gonna speak of any details or say anything, but I went through something where somebody didn't follow procedure and it almost effed me. But anyways, my point of the story is when you don't follow procedures, stuff goes bad. So let's take the government for example, or President Biden, or Vladimir Putin. If any one of these parties do not follow a specific procedure, their country will not run well, their country will fall, maybe war will happen, etc. Procedures are very important. Now, if we turn to science, in science class, biology, when you're doing an experiment, the procedure can tie into many different things. However, my whole point is what happens when it deals with machinery, like Icon Park? What happens when it deals with buses? What happens when it deals with trains? What happens when it deals with transportation and simple people can't follow procedures? What happens when the people building the skyscraper don't follow procedures? What happens? People's safety gets affected. So, this is why following a procedure is important. What about with education? Now, in education, procedure is also important because the children must go through certain things in order to learn. The children must take certain things in order to graduate, so on and so forth. There's a procedure in everything. Step one is this, step two is this, step three is this, step four is this. Now, if you're lazy on any one of those steps within the procedure, for example, Icon Park, something deadly is going to happen. Now, it doesn't just have to be Icon Park. What happens? For example, when I was in New York, I heard about Metro North. There was a train crash, I think 2010 or 2012, on the Hudson line of Metro North, which is the green line. It's a curve. I think the curve is 30 miles an hour he was supposed to be going, or 20 miles, and he was going 60, 80 miles. So now,
I
sir,
think it was
you're a
Amtrak.
conductor, and your job as a conductor, as a train driver, is we buy these tickets and you're supposed to keep us safe. We bought a service, we bought a good, and we expect you to do it right so that our life isn't in jeopardy. One plus one equals two. So if you've been in training and this is not your first time riding on this train track, I think Amtrak. Maybe not Metro North. Or was it Metro North?
I think it was
Because both
one
of
of those
them. It was
trains.
both of them, honestly. But the conductor took classes like any other person that has to follow procedure when it comes to machinery,
One was Amtrak and
that
one was MTA.
they must slow down when the train is going around a curve. If the train doesn't stop, the train will derail. Because sir did not follow the procedure that he was trained, the train derailed. A bunch of people were happy to sue and get lawsuits, and stuff keeps on going. Yes, it's a tragedy. Many people die. But the moral of the story and the importance of the matter is when you do dumb things and you don't follow procedure, people's life is at risk. And when we trust you to do something right and you can't even do it right, why should we be calm? Why should the people at Icon Park be calm? Yes, they should be respectful, but why should they not be angry that you did not ask him how much his weight was, or um make sure that it restrict that you even saw when like even after even if you didn't ask him his weight, you saw it didn't click in properly. Like there's rules in place. There's many steps before accidents happen. Step one, the weight. Step two, it doesn't click in properly because of the weight. Like there's so many steps of safety that are there, but people don't want to follow them A through Z. And I'm not talking about A through Z like if this is Amazon. There's steps 1 through 99. There's steps A, B, C, D, E, F, G through Z. There's steps in many different categories on how things should be run, how things should be in place, and how things should run efficiently. So if you cannot do your job right and people are paying you all this money to do something, okay, it makes no sense. For example, with Icon Park, they paid for all these security features and all of this, right? Paid for all of this,
Good
right?
afternoon. The
And
topic today is why it is important to follow procedures.
you can finish. I'm pretty much just overtying and ranting now, so you can
No,
just
somebody
start.
asked the topic that just came. It no mean you must stop. Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
Why it's important for
I'm not the only one that's supposed to
procedure
be talking because it's
to
like
follow
been
in
5 minutes I've been talking.
rules and regulation are set in place in every in your home, in your churches, your schools, just even the government and how things are structured. This is why you have you're welcome. This is why you have laws, and if you break them, you get reprimanded. You have people will be hypocritical when it comes to following procedures.
That's why accidents happen and people lose their life or almost lose their life. Because y'all lazy. Y'all ain't follow proper training. Y'all ain't read steps 1 through 3 throughout the manual. Y'all all just want to rush to make money. Y'all all just want to rush to make people get through the line fast so they can all go up on the sky flyer and come back down. And not sky flyer, I mean the drop tower. You want everybody to go up on the free fall tower, drop tower, and come back down and rush, 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 rush. When you rush, things happen. For example, at my job. When you rush, register, you mess up with money. And then when you mess up with money, the register is short. And then when the register is short, I have a problem with you because simply they give you a 20, they give you 100, you put it in the system, you press enter to make sure it's going to give you back change. Wow, it's 9 something. They gave me 20. Okay, you owe me 8 something back. Okay, now let's open the drawer and let's count everything right. If we know we have an issue counting, don't count fast. Because if the money is short, that means you're not doing your job right. That means we cannot trust you on cash register. That means simply you're not following procedure. Once again, hello? Anybody else? Anybody got any questions about our concerns or something to add on why following procedure is important? Like, for example, if a doctor didn't follow procedure during a pregnancy, there's a possibility the mother might die with the child in her. Now, does that sound happy for y'all? Does that sound exciting to go to a doctor that might not even be trained right and you're pregnant and you may die with your child in you? Like, that must be something great. Why are people not following procedure right? When you don't follow procedure, it is proven through more than one example. If you don't follow procedure, okay, you don't follow the procedure on the road and you run a red light. Now a car hits into you. You could have prevented that by following the procedure and making sure you was following the rules of the road. Now, if you're speeding and you're going like 90 and the The highway says it's 70, and everybody's going 70. There's traffic on the highway. Everybody's going 70. Now, you're going 90, you're bobbing and weaving, and you cause an accident. Now, what do we learn about the rules and regulations and the procedure of the road? You don't speed, you don't bob and weave in and out of lanes fast and change in and out of lanes fast. You put on your signal, you wait till people make you move in and out. You don't overspeed with traffic. You give people space so you don't bump into them. Why is there rules and regulations and procedure in place and people can't follow them?
Because people don't like to follow rules and regulations.
And we're still
People
supposed to
don't
pay
like to.
them? And they're supposed to
People.
still have a job? Like these kids at Icon Park, was that right? They were
People
supposed to
don't
ask
like to
him
be.
his way.
People don't like to be told what to do and the correct way because you have some people that stuck in their ways of doing things.
Okay, so you're saying everybody takes everything like a joke because it's not on them. Okay, so now we're going into my favorite word of the day. People are selfish and money hungry. Oh my God, we're going somewhere so great today because literally, if I really said what it was, Jesus Christ, great topic. Um, if you don't follow rules, stuff can happen. You can lose your job or somebody can lose their life. If you don't follow rules and regulations, I feel like that's being selfish because rules and regulations and procedures aren't they basically checks and balances? Aren't they basically here to make sure everybody's good, everybody's okay? So if we don't care about the checks and balances, basically, why care at all? That's what I'm getting from it. Like, if people really cared, you wouldn't need to have to be saying I'm sorry. Because obviously, if you cared, this wouldn't have happened with the park. And just saying I'm sorry isn't going to bring somebody back to life or prevent what could have almost happened. So let's say a construction worker doesn't properly structure the building, like in Miami, the building that fell, the building that half of the building crashed. Now, all those people that died in that high rise, what? Oh, I'm sorry that we didn't structurally maintain the building right and your family died. Like, we're sorry. What's I'm sorry gonna do? Your job as a contractor, your job as a construction worker is to make sure you're following the blueprint. You're making sure everything is structurally right, everything is intact. There's no way for the building to sink, there's no way for the building to topple, there's nothing. Obviously, you only cared about money. You only cared about getting your paycheck. You only cared about going home. You didn't care about the people who's going to live here. You didn't care if it was your family. You didn't care if it was your life. You did not care. So once you don't care and you're just getting the money, let's scandal you. Let's put you on blast because people's life is important.
I would like to just advise people who have a job that has to do with
Medicine,
people's
machinery,
life
cops, firefighters.
as I said, has to do with people's life as a whole. So it covers all genre, whatever criteria it fits that you have a job that has to do with people life. You must take it into consideration that you have people's life in hand and you can't just rush and do a work, rush and do something and just hand it over. You got to check, double check, and check again. And if you doubt yourself, have somebody else check, double check, and check again.
But when it comes to money, people don't care about that. They just want to make the money fast. So how are you gonna tell people who is greedy with money and stingy with money how to get rid of their problem and care for people's life? When in general, we're taught by society that most of us don't care about each other, nor do we care about strangers. So if we study sociology and psychology, these are the things that are being said about society. What must we do if most people are doing this and it's the majority? And now, if the majority is doing it and not following rules and procedures, how do we really know if we're secure and safe? Right now, this is the type of
And
conversation I deal with.
what can what can be a lot of people do multitask.
No, not even that.
Multitask when you have people life dealing with, you got to stay focused because let's say you're multitasking and you have more than one camera fixing. The fact that the fact that you're not your whole focus is not just on one, mistake is bound to happen. Because when you think you tighten both thing from one camera, it could be the very same camera you went back and do it.
So my next issue, because
Notification was sent especially to you.
who,
Continue. When I'm
um,
speaking, you don't have to say
what?
who or what. Just continue.
Okay,
It's
we
two of us
mostly
talking.
okay. Anyways, like I was saying before I was interrupted, people need to do their job properly, and I'm tired of saying it. So you go to a doctor, and we're basically taught from a young age you trust doctors. You tell them what's wrong, they give you an issue. So what happens if you just go to a wrong doctor? Don't tell me there's not a wrong doctor. Don't sit here. Damn, I can't even talk about Rona because there were so many. I can't use that example. Jesus Christ. Okay, Germany, 1950 something. I'm not pronouncing it right. You know what? Let's go on Google. Let's go on Google. I think it's called the math of something. Saying that wrong. Now, let me tell you how people are stupid, but at the same time, how doctors are evil and wicked. Not really doctors, but the drug company that released it. But technically, you have scientists, which are basically doctors, because scientists deal with medicine, and then they're gonna give that medicine to the doctors. So you can't. So you can really just say right here, the people creating the drugs, the pharmaceuticals, are basically doctors. They're just a different form of a doctor. The
It's
the
the Are you
litho
talking about the
the
gentleman that took 87?
No, I'm not talking about him. I said I wanted to
Oh,
talk about Rona, but no, I can't.
okay. It's like, for instance, we're on the topic of doing your following protocol and doing your job. How is it possible that you're following protocol and one person has been vaccinated? We can say that, right? Yeah, vaccinated. We can say vaccinated. How one person has been vaccinated 87 times?
Okay, here it is. Thalodome, thalomada,
Thalidomide.
the Lidomide scandal. Basically, in the 1950s in Germany, a pharmaceutical company made this pill called the after morning pill that will get rid of women's birth, morning sickness. Now, we have to thank the men out there that's like Jermaine that are very strong and controlling on their partner. Because a lot of women whose husbands were not controlling on them and telling them, hey, every woman gets birth sickness, morning sickness. There's no way to get over it. A lot of women who did not have husbands like this that were strong and firm got effed. The women who took this after morning pill, this is what happened to their babies. The after morning pill that got rid of morning sickness was a drug that basically took away a certain gene in the mother's body and the baby's body that produces limb growth. So now these babies have short little limbs. They have little tiny legs. It's because of a pill. It's not a disease. It's because of a pill. It's a birth defect because of a pill. Now, let's see how this is messed up.
Procedures.
Let's
K
start.
Diamond once said procedures
Hold on.
are put in place for a reason, especially when companies are involved.
Now, when it comes to us and pharmaceuticals, we have been taught that
Right,
because this is a
Africa.
local drug. In Germany, when this came out in 1951, this was a local drug. And we have local pharmacies, we have local stuff, we have local drugs, over the counter drugs, let's say. Not prescription drugs, over the counter drugs. I think that's what local is. Now we know of Aleve, we know of Tylenol and all this. What happens? These drugs we trust, there's no issue with them. Let's say one day we took ibuprofen and it just gave us a heart attack or a stroke. And we've been taught from a young age by our parents. When you're sick, you go to the
The doc-
pharmacy. You trust what's in the pharmacy. These over the counter stuff, they're safe. You don't need prescription for it. It's
well,
safe. Hold on.
not all of us parents taught us that.
Honey love, you can walk into the pharmacy and get medicine for a cold, a fever,
No, I'm
and you'll
not
be
saying you're
good.
wrong, but I said not all of us parents taught us that because my parents didn't wasn't a person that run to the hospital for stuff to
So
heal.
now we're taught to trust these local pharmacies these things and all of this. Now, what happens when you have a pharmaceutical company that's evil, like this one in Germany, and legit, they knew they were causing birth defects with this pill, and they did not care. You know what some of the doctors told their mothers? Oh, your baby don't look right. You should probably just kill it and try again. Even though these doctors didn't work for the pharmaceutical company, these doctors were so like weirded out by how badly the baby looked that they told the mothers, kill your child and just have another child. You'll be good. So we're supposed to sit here and pay our money and trust pharmaceutical companies, trust the restaurants, trust police, all these people, all this, trust people who fix your car, trust people who fix your house, trust people who the vets, trust all these people that go to
You said the
school.
pill was morning after pill.
Morning sickness.
Morning sickness.
Morning, not the morning after pill for abortion, the sickness pill. They don't
Oh.
got this pill out anymore. This pill's been removed off the market. But in 1951, they knew what they was doing in
Oh,
Germany.
that's why you would know
And
about it.
yeah, this is from 1951. I recently found out about this. I'm always doing documentaries and case studies. I also found out about Stephen King. He wrote this book called 1408 about this really possessed haunted room in Chicago, Illinois, but it's actually not in Chicago. The book takes place in New York. And honestly, this is just a random thing. Like I was like I was interested in this horror thing. You get what I'm saying? And finding out more about 1408. Like wow, this like really like haunted hotel room. Like I just came up across this thing I was just explaining to you about the the what's that? The where they
After pill.
vomit, the
Yes.
vomit,
Morning sickness.
morning sickness
So
pill.
they used to, in other words, when people, women become pregnant and you have that sickness, they used to try to get
Rid
a
of it,
pill to get rid of that
but it just
sickness.
caused birth
But it
defects in
caused a lot of
Germany.
birth defects and limb shortage and so forth, so on and so forth.
Not the
This
morning,
is the 1950s.
clear, it's not the morning after pill. I'm sorry, I have not been in sexual health class in a while. It's been like I think 3 years. It's been
Mhm.
like three. I haven't been in sex ed since 2019. How many years is that? 2021. Yeah, 3 years. And I really don't
Yes.
know a lot. I know like for the female body, you know, there's
Morning
different like
sickness pill. Yes,
abortion
that's what it will be.
stuff.
Morning sickness pill.
But I get the terms I use about like the morning sickness and the morning after and all of this. I get it confused. But what the study says is the morning sickness pill. That's what it is. A morning sickness pill where you wake up, you're vomiting, you take this pill, you get rid of your morning sickness. We have to condemn the men that were
But
on top of their
it
mic.
wasn't getting rid of the morning
Morning sickness, it
sickness. It was
wasn't.
just getting rid of
The
limbs.
yeah, it wasn't helping the baby's limbs grow. I find that to be very like 1951's how husband and wife are. The men is real like you do this, you do that, and A through Z like we're the smarter one. So a lot of the time I look at that with my relationship because there's a lot of times where if I didn't like listen to Orlando, I would have been up. You get what I'm saying? Like certain things. So like a lot of women didn't have a man with this personality in their life. They'll be like, oh, boo, like my mother had like morning sickness, like my sister had morning sickness, like everybody got morning sickness. Like, the hell you caring about? Like, why you need a pill? You know what I'm saying? It's natural through everybody. But there was a lot of women, a lot of their husbands was like, oh, you vomited, you going through it, baby. Like, here, take this, you'll be good. And then when they have their kid, they don't know what it is. And then your sister took it, you took it. Both y'all kids come out defected. Is it something with the family gene? There was a lot of effed up things behind this that went on. No, I don't play with that. I don't play with that with people with people giving birth with their children. They tell us you don't smoke weed, you don't smoke cigarettes, you don't vape, you don't drink. What else you don't? You don't do any other drugs, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't do any drugs. You don't drink anything. No hookah, no nothing. Tobacco, ecstasy, no nothing. Nothing. Not even idle weed. Nothing shall be going into your system as a mother. Now, you're just a happy mom, not smoking, not drinking, not doing nothing, no ecstasy, no perks and molly, no anything. You're just like, I have really bad stomach. I really have really bad morning sickness. Like, I keep vomiting. It's so bad. Like, I can't even stand up. I can't even I can't even, like, take care of needs thing around the house. Like it hurts. Some women for the first time are pregnant, they can't handle morning sickness. I know somebody that was close to Orlando's best friend that they went through morning sickness, and they was like, "Oh my god, I can't. Like it's my first child, I can't. Like oh my god, like it's a pain that's like just over it." And I was like, oh, "Okay, it's your first time being pregnant. I type understand that. Like
I
something you never
remember going through
experienced
morning
before."
sickness, just like when they
How you went through morning
place
sickness?
Planned Parent
Oh my God, I wanna.
minority community going around and doing things to women and color, why they think most of them can't give birth. Why you think most of them can't
Oh,
give birth?
in
Look into
today's
that
day,
story also,
true.
Perry.
Oh yeah, they said basically that
Oh,
when women do abort, they basically said
and
that
the
when women do
pause.
abortion, that with the women of color, they're. I heard. I'm not sure if this is true, but I heard with the women of color, they're a bit more rough with them, and like certain things they wouldn't do with the regular, with the lighter skins and the white people, they'll do to a black woman, and certain stuff like that.
Hmm.
I feel like they tell you you can't have a lot of abortions or then you start becoming infertile, I think, or something like that. What happens when you have too much abortions again?
I don't know.
Because I heard if they keep on
I
putting
bring.
that thing up there, they keep opening you up, and eventually, like you can't, your uterus won't
You'd
hold
have
a
to ask
baby.
people what happened when you have too much
It's
abortion,
true.
Carrie.
When they open you up in your second, third trimester, and they stick that thing up there and kill the baby up in there, inject that shit, it's opening up your cervix and all that. So because it keeps up opening up your cervix and all that, when the egg is supposed to go in the uterus, it just falls right through.
And if you have any point and opinion to share, the number to call is 1-800-944-2166.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Planned Parenthood back in New York. Like, they had all these different ways for you to get like condoms, like PrEP,
You can
like
WhatsApp at the very said
this
number one
and
eight hundred
that.
nine
But
four four two one six
when you
six.
really look behind Planned Parenthood, there's some Planned Parenthoods that aren't really like caring for you. They don't care. They hurt you. Like for what? Like I don't know. Like people just need to stop.
But that again, these we speak of procedures, and these are procedures the government put in place for us to follow. So
My lips got rashed
how would
up
you how would one
from.
explain that? But right about now we're gonna turn to our
Oh, Lancome
sponsor
Fashion Boutique sponsor,
for
OVC
our
Radio.
segment.
At Olanquin Fashion
It
Boutique,
comes
we
weak.
believe that being stylish doesn't
So
have to
when
be
they
hard.
force that shit
That's
open,
why
it
we're
becomes
committed to
weaker
providing hassle-free
faster.
shopping to fashionistas around the world.
Told you I know the woman's
We
body.
offer a wide selection of premium men's, women's, and children's wear, and accessories like shoes, bags, and tights. Best of all, we'll ship all items directly to your door in just a few clicks. And we believe in giving back to the community. That is why we give 10% of our monthly revenue to Feed the Kids Foundation, so you can shop and make a difference. Visit olanquanfashionboutique.com to get started.
So I watched a video last night about what it was like for someone to be a sociopath. Because I never really understand the terms like sociopath or like those things really in psychology. I didn't really like pay attention to those classes because they made me a bit like weirded out that people could be like, emotionless or just use you for certain things. So I watched this video of this sociopath with his therapist. And they were like that how they if they find someone to be weaker, they'll prey on them. And what they mean by prey on them is basically that they will want something from them and use them, and then when they're done, leave them alone. And I was like, even though you're diagnosed as being a sociopath, you sound like how most people in society are. I'm not saying everybody in society is a sociopath, but that thing I just explained, people will look at you for something they want, right? Be nice to you, fake emotions, do everything to get what they want. However, what's different than the sociopath is instead of them dropping you right then and there, they'll keep you at a little distance, regular people. Some people will cut you off, believe they can. But for me, it's a bit weird how everything comes into place. Like, why I'm talking about this is because how can you just take something from somebody and then don't care about them and just leave them? You get what I'm saying? Now, you
Hmm.
may be like, oh, that sounds like a romantic point of view, but what happens if a person like this has a disease? Last time I checked, when you go around infecting people with certain diseases, that's considered a crime. So now what happens if you have a person that's a sociopath or has like a sociopath point of view of I'm just using somebody, gonna get what I want, and then leave? You're hurting other people's life. I'm not saying sociopaths, all sociopaths are hurting people. I'm
Hmm.
just saying when there's a certain trait that I'm trying to explain that's there of you're just trying to get something from somebody, faking stuff, just making them believe that you're there for them and then get what they want and then leave on whatever it is, money, food, clothes, sex, whatever it is, that's wrong. But people don't understand it. Because if people wasn't selfish, they would care that they do their job right. You know what? I have seen some people who work and they will not sign their name. They will not put their name onto something unless it was done to a T or done perfectly because they don't want the backlash. Now, you can do everything to a T and be communicating with people, being transparent, and there's some people known as ASS, HOLES. We cannot say it out
What's
loud. We cannot say
oh
that word. That's a
oh
curse word.
oh okay.
Ass. And
Oh,
then
okay, okay, okay.
I say this because I was at my job. I'm not gonna say which job it was, and I had to help a customer. I was very transparent to the customer. Hey, we don't do no refunds. We only do exchanges. Like the general manager isn't here. I'm the shift manager, and we only do exchanges. If you left the store, I cannot give you a refund. You have to be up here at the cash register or somewhere still in the store and come back real quick and get a refund. If you walk out that door, I cannot. So
Mhm.
now I love when people, I'm being so respectful, explain them, okay, um, on the exchange, you can do it like this. You have to get most of the money off. So I'm only allowed to exchange a $2. I'm only supposed to refund you $2, $1, or cents. If you pay $20 for something, you gotta buy exchange something for the same price or something close enough. You can't be like $5 off, $10 off. Like nah, like gotta be
Okay.
like that.
And these are
So
procedures.
these are procedures. And when I tell some customers this, they curse me out. They want to leave bad reviews. They want to do all this and just lie. Just a lie. And it was not only this time, I had another time. I had somebody on register and a customer was playing with lighters and it knocked off. And like some of them broke. And if you're playing with the lighters and you move it, there's a sign there that even says ask for assistance. You
Mm.
touched it without asking for assistance and you broke the lighter. They wanted to curse out my employee, be like, oh, she was so rude. She cursed me out, all this, all this. And I was there. I'm like, she never cursed you out. I was like reading the Google review. I was like, but she never cursed you out. Why are you lying? There's some people that have a shitty life and just want to hurt people, just want to be
Hurt people,
mean.
hurt people.
Like,
K
bro.
Diamond said no one wants to get thrown under the bus when they're messed up. But let me ask you,
But if it deals with somebody's life, you get to throw
you
underneath the
speaking
bus.
about correction, hey Tanisha, you're speaking about correction, and you're saying no one want to be corrected when they messed up. So
So
how do you learn from your
what
correction?
happens if you take your car to be fixed and your axle is broken? And you take it there and you think your axle is fixed, but your axle was never really fixed right. They're supposed to be corrected. If your doctor injects you and draws your blood and leaves a big bruise on your vein, don't you have all right to tell the doctor or the nurse, hey, you're not supposed to, when you take my blood, you're not supposed to leave a big bruise, right?
Yes.
When they do the IV, it's not supposed to leave a big bruise or make you bleed. It's just supposed to go in
No.
and right. Or when a woman is going through pregnancy, let me tell y'all about y'all don't want me to talk about America. Y'all really don't. When it comes to oh shit, I was about to say who the hell was that? Uh, I was like when it comes to America and women with pregnancy, you want to know how doctors really care for y'all? You know that the doctors will inject you and force your labor and like force a bunch of stuff that they're not supposed to do naturally and like it messes you up in the long run and like why? And when they sedate you for you to like make your like labor come faster, they're charging you for that. Like, honey love, you're already charging me to give birth up in here. Why are you gonna charge me to make my contractions come faster? Honey love, if the baby ain't okay, like Grey's Anatomy taught me, if the baby ain't decelling in me and the baby ain't dying in me, don't sedate me. What? Like, when my mother tells me the amount of shit they put her through, and when I learned in high school the amount of stuff that they do that is wrong to women, that is legal with pregnancy, you do not want to give birth in America.
These are the procedures we're talking about.
No, some
Government
people
procedures.
bruise easily, so that's not up to the doctor or nurse. But even though some people bruise easily, there's some of the nurses that are rough with you, and some of the doctors that are just like jail. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't bruise easily, and these people made me bruise like twice, and I was like, I really should have told you off, but I didn't. Um, in
But
general,
if you get your skin pork, you're gonna have a little bruise.
but a big one like
It's
this.
because you're light skin, you see it.
But not me. I'm talking about people who haven't done it, who nurses who aren't trained right. There's always people who aren't trained right.
A little bruise from a needle, that's no issue. But to say, oh, somebody not following
That was an
procedure.
example. If you're doing it roughly, you're not following procedure. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
Yeah.
E for effort.
So what happens when the factory that does your lettuce and veggies don't follow procedure with washing right, and salmonella ends up on the food? And now you up in the supermarket, you're like, oh my god, this romaine lettuce looks so good. Let me get this romaine lettuce. 2 weeks later, you find out on the news that romaine lettuce you bought has the same expiration date that the ones that have salmonella the poison on it.
But I believe
And
why they say wash the fruits and veggies not from catching
no.
salmonella,
Sometimes they
but
recall
it's
food. They
from
recall food.
the pesticides and chemical that's sprayed to keep insect off
It
your
wouldn't be on the
vegetable.
news with them saying it's contaminated with salmonella poison and to throw it out if somebody didn't follow their procedure. It would have never been on the news, like I was saying. So you went to go get your romaine lettuce up in the supermarket. It's 2 weeks later. You're sick. You're vomiting. Whatever. You're like, oh my god, I'm eating something, but I don't know why I'm sick. Like, why am I like, what's going on? And then you're watching Channel 7 or like whatever news you're on Fox or like CNN, and you're like, oh this romaine lettuce company Cerber or whatever their name is. I don't even know. Let's make up a name. Surget. Surget recalled lettuce expiring in April 2020 for the date of April 6th because 10,000 of them were found with salmonella. Why was it found with salmonella, but all the other lettuce you make afterwards don't have that? Why are you recalling it? Because somebody didn't follow procedure. Procedure is very important. Procedure needs to be followed. Procedure in general, it's just like don't half a dollar sign something, please.
If you're gonna do something, do it to the best of your ability and get it
Because
done and do it right.
yeah, making fast money is great and all, but do you want to live with guilt that you hurt somebody or that somebody wasn't satisfied with your job or something? You get what I'm saying? Like, you want people to come back to you. Like, I'm not talking about the people who lie on you and that's stuff. I'm talking about the people who, yeah, the service was great. Yeah, you did a great job. Yeah, I want you to be my doctor. Yeah, I want you to be my on the supermarket I always come to. Yeah, I want you to be the tech specialist I always call, and anytime I need help, I'm calling you. Like, there's a reason why people care for certain things, and it should be followed. Like, imagine if a surgeon. Oh my God, y'all gonna hate me so bad. Imagine what's those people that put you under?
So the
Not the surgeon. The
anesthesia.
Imagine the anesthesiologist ain't weigh you properly, ain't give you the right amount of sedatives, and you're awake during your surgery. And your body, you can't move your body, but your eyes is awake, and you feel the pain. You're like, okay, basically, long story short, when the what's that person called again? When the anesthesiologist doesn't give you the correct um milky, like sleepy medicine, basically, you can either be awake during your surgery and you cannot move your arms and your legs, but you feel them cutting into you. And I had a woman describe this to me once. I watched a documentary. I'm always watching. And I will never forget this documentary. She was like, her face was down at the floor. Like, she was awake. She woke up in the middle of the surgery. She felt them cutting into her. She felt the burning, cutting sensation. I was like, nope. I had to do a surgery last year for my back. I was like to the anesthesiologist, I was like, girl, you gonna make sure I go to sleep, right? And I don't feel anything, right? Because I'm the paranoid one and you don't want me to be a case. Like, legit. I was like this on the table. She was like, okay, tell me about your favorite food and we're gonna start counting. We're gonna start counting. And she was like, just talk. When I tell you, I put my head, yo, I don't know what type of high that was. She told me, okay, you're gonna put your head down and you're gonna count. And I was counting or I was talking about something. What? I don't know. Anyways, um, what's I'ma call it? Um, yeah, I was like to her, like, okay, yada yada. She's like, okay, you're on speak. Tell us like your favorite thing, like what you like to do, count. I'm doing that with my head down there, and like I'm there, and I see her like injecting that shit into like the IV thing that's in me, and I see that like that shit like just rush into my vein, and I'm just there like, okay, I'm talking to her, but I'm just there in my head like, okay, when am I gonna go to sleep? Like, when am I just gonna knock out black? When I tell you within like 10 seconds I knock the fuck out, I wake up in the recovery room like, what just happened? Did y'all operate on me? How long was I out? I had so many questions, and I was just like, bro, again? Like, because the last time they sedated me was when I was like 4, and I honestly ain't remember that. So when they sedated me this time, I was like, whoa, what's this experience? Like, medicine is like medicine is so evolved, like it just knocks you out, you don't feel nothing, you don't remember anything, that's boom. Like we back. I was just so like I was like so amazed by like how modern medicine is, but at the same time I was like a bit like scared. I was like, damn, if they really don't do their shit right, you could really be fucked. Like I was also panicking. I was like to Sweetie, girl, you sure you're giving me the right dosage so like I wake up? Yo, yo, this is why like if a doctor don't do something right, that will give me like the worst freaking anxiety ever. That will give me the worst freaking anxiety ever. If I find out a doctor ain't do something right, I'm just like, bye. I'm like, you're bad for business. Goodbye. Goodbye, sir. Goodbye, ma'am. Not today. Because, like, really now, you really want to, like, that's scary. You're trusting your doctor to heal you and Sweetie don't heal you right? Mm-mm. Oh my God. I remember I read a documentary. I read another documentary. Yo, I'm reading so many documentaries about doctors not doing their job right. There was another doctor. I think it was in like Germany or like Italy. Italy. I think he was an Italian doctor, and he was well renowned. Well renowned. Well renowned. I forgot his name, but nobody cares. He was basically a transplant doctor doing. Okay, he was a stem growth transplant doctor. So he was like a research doctor. He was a research scientist, and at the same time, he a doctor. Now, let me tell you how Sweden and Italy effed up big time. So he was making biodegradable throats. Biodegradable throats. So basically, he was making the windpipes and all of that, like super quick, super cheap, and then charging mad people, and then saying, "Oh, they work perfectly, they work." And bro, after like there was more than 10 patients. And when you read the patients' case studies, it's depressing. Most of the patients they even live. Some of them are living with the windpipe that they put in them, and it's like either rotting or like, oh my, oh, where is it? Where's the story at? Oh, I don't have my phone. I don't have my phone. I don't have mi telephone. It was scary. Where's my phone? Because this is something I really need to read to y'all. Okay, oh, my phone is charging. Oh, damn. There's no. Oh, wait, I have my iPad. Oh, what happened to the iPad? The iPad was here. The iPad was here, bro. So basically, let me try and get my thoughts together. I can't explain this because this may be all over the place. So he's an Italian doctor. Biodegradable. I don't think it's biodegradable because if it's biodegradable, that means it degrades. I think it's just stem growth. They're like stem growth, so they're like regenerating like cells that basically grew that windpipe. He put this in people that had like cancer, like there was cancer in the throat for them, they had to get a new windpipe, or they had like a thorax problem with their throat. He would remove the one that was damaged and put in the one he made. It was not tested on humans fully. I don't know if it was tested on rats or all of those. I forgot. Because I read this like 2, 3 months ago. It was real interesting. There's like I think 2, 3 people out of like the 15, 20, and the 15, 20 of them, when you read how they died, it was either because their whole throat collapsed, their windpipe collapsed, and they died. It rotted, and they didn't catch it in time, and they died. Like, some of them lasted a year before dying. Like, they did the surgery, they had to kept going back to him to get it surgically fixed. They eventually died. There were some people that they didn't go to him like to get it refixed, and they died within like 3 months, 2 months, 5 months, 6 months. Like, and then when you read some of the stories where they're like, "Oh my god, like this was somebody's mother," and like how it was for the family, I was like, bro, some of y'all doctors is wicked. I mean, wicked. Like, okay, y'all basically heroes because y'all surgically opening us, the surgeon. You're able to cut us open. You're able to fix us, sew us up. Great. Now you're cutting us open, and you're basically putting in something that not properly tested on humans. Now you're removing somebody's windpipe, somebody's thorax. Now if you remove this and don't put it back, your neck collapses. Your neck will rot out. Now imagine your throat is rotting, or one day your throat just collapsed and you just die. What the fuck? Sorry, what WTF? Where's the food? Where's the food? WTF? Where's the food? What happens when you have throat cancer and your doctors are like, "Hey, you have this experimental experiment, or you can just be on chemo. Your time is like you can either live like 5 more years with the experiment, or you can live a year more with chemo." Some of them did his thing and didn't even live a year if they were to do chemo. A lot of people take these experimental trials and like risk their life. And honestly, if you did it would have been better. And there's actual research scientists, research doctors that are behind the trial, that are behind the experiment, that care, that really, you know how many times I heard doctors doing cancer research and it's new and it works? I heard that they're taking diseases. I love this. Oh my God. They're making HIV fight cancer. Oh my God. I love this study. Oh
They're
my
using HIV to
God. They're
fight
using
cancer.
different diseases to fight cancer. So now they manipulate the HIV to target only the cancer cell. Like, you see how HIV targets the T cell? Well, doctors are so great that they manipulated HIV, the virus, to kill cancer cells, and they will inject that into the cancer patients who agree with the study. And it is phenomenal. The research proves that they can kill cancer, that they program the disease and it doesn't give them HIV, it just kills the cancer. I was like, oh my, I found that out like 3 years ago. I was like, oh my Jesus. I was like, oh my God,
So you're
biology's turning
saying
me on. They can manipulate diseases to
there's
target cancer cells. Yeah, any
they are
disease.
saying
Mm-hmm.
that in order to cure cancer, you have to give somebody HIV.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. I said you can manipulate a disease.
With how would you manipulate the
Are you the
cancer?
science? Are you the science researcher behind it? We have to find the documentary and read it. They come manipulate. Okay, you see how HIV is what regular HIV targets the T cell. Now they go in and they mess around and change the DNA of the disease of HIV, and they instead of it targeting the T cell, now this one that they made targets cancer cells. Now it's an experimental thing only that has been taken off very well. So now they will ask the person, "Hey, this is for your cancer. It hasn't been working. We have this new experiment. We put this disease. They could do it with the common cold. They could do it with a bunch of different diseases."
Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are listening, not for Instagram, those of you who are listening on the radio and streaming in on the World Wide Web on Facebook, the podcast has come to another end, and the fact that we are ending with the scientifical discussion
Mm-hmm.
on manipulating
Diseases to cure other
diseases to cure other
diseases.
diseases.
And that's
That
really
would be
cool.
our podcast for tomorrow. Join us tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, OBC Radio. Follow us on all platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, OBC Radio. We thank you and appreciate you. And we leave you with